Welcome to BS with AJ, ladies and gentlemen. This is your home for some perspective. The kind of perspective that tells you in November of 2016 that your intelligence community is arrayed against you. Or at least if you're a Republican or a conservative. The kind of perspective that tells you 59 million aborted babies since Roe v. Wade does not represent compassion for your fellow citizen. That's right, you find it right here. BS with AJ on the Talk America Radio Network. Thanks for tuning in. If you caught last week's show, that's how we do it here. Once a week, I do an hour with you. I appreciate you tuning in. Debuts Saturday mornings. So if it's Saturday morning, the 7th of October, then you're getting it fresh, hot off the press, so to speak. Sad week, sad stuff all around. Everybody has had their opportunity. Usually that's what happens because I do with my work schedule, I do my show at the end of the week. Everybody's had their opportunity to sound off Monday through Friday, the business days, the days we interact with the hosts and the people that tell us what's happening. You know, the TV schedule that dictates how our lives work, where the weekends we forget about stuff and watch sports, and during the week it's all real serious, time to buckle down and debate. But it's my turn to sound off on the Vegas stuff. And I've seen, just like most of you will, a little through social media, a little through talk radio, a little through the news, Fox News, you'll have learned what you've learned and have the thoughts and suspicions that you have. I agree with the sheriff there in Vegas that it's hard to imagine this guy didn't work with at least another individual. There are lots of things here that don't make sense, such as camera footage from the 7 billion trillion cameras that exist everywhere in Las Vegas to make sure that you're not taking money from the house, or at least not too much. Weird we haven't seen that stuff. I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist, but I have a whole Hollywood action-packed plot-twisting blockbuster going off in my head about what went off here. And all I know is that once again we're about to try to see if we can gin up a law that another criminal will ignore. If we can take something away from the American people that's dangerous and insensitive and ludicrous, that criminals will continue to not care if it's dangerous or sensitive or ludicrous. See, that's the thing. This whole argument, the way the liberals phrase it, is about law-abiding gun owners in America. It's not about the criminals who commit these acts. They are criminals, and most times beforehand, before they've committed the act itself, they've already become a criminal. This argument isn't about the millions of law-abiding gun owners in America. It's about the fact that we live in a society, because we're free, where people do as they choose. Our laws are not designed to prevent, per se, only prevent through our understanding of the consequences and our choosing to not face them. When there's someone who doesn't give a rat's patoot about the consequences, well, then all of the laws go flying out the window. That's what Bill O'Reilly means when he says this is the cost of freedom. He's absolutely right. We're free in this country to do and believe and say and purchase and move about, and that means that the evil folks will do all of those things, just like the good folks will. There are some who would maybe argue there are more evil folks now. Maybe so. But there are some, and I tend to come down on the side that says there's always been this level of violence in human history and in human existence. It's just that we didn't have cameras everywhere, and we didn't have this level of civilization. We didn't have this in kind of intense global population. That's the whole thing. You know, back in the day, it'd be city-states invading city-states, and the Vikings doing raids. They didn't go to conquer land most of the time. They went and raided and killed people and raped and murdered and took possessions and left. And whoever was left tried to start again until the next time. Hopefully, in the meantime, strengthening their defense. There's just such a general lack of understanding to the liberal, progressive Democrat Party in this country now that, and maybe for the American people in general. I was talking to a friend of mine about this stuff, and we were debating the whole gun thing, and one of the things that had been thrown at him was, you really think that your AR-15 is going to defend you against the U.S. military? And this person that took that Second Amendment argument to that place just doesn't seem to understand what it is they're suggesting. But the person that I was speaking to accepted that and tried to defend against it and furthered the conversation in that direction that this ludicrous-minded idiota, to use the Latin term, suggested and put forth, and it just doesn't work. The U.S. military isn't there to crack down on the population and enforce laws. That's not their role. They're there to defend the country. That's the thing, is there's a large number of people in our country who have no comprehension, no understanding of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the preamble that was the Declaration of Independence. They just have no idea what it all means. They have been let down by our public school systems, which means we have let our children down. We have let these generations down. Those of us that are 40 and over, 50 and over, we've let them down. I got upset on the show one time. I was upset with the people from my parents' generation for electing all of these Republicans and Democrats all these years. You know, it's a silly kind of thing to say, but at the same time, it's true. Being red-pilled nowadays allows a person to realize that we're manipulated in so many different ways. And it's the format of an hour television show, whether it's news, whether it's a 3-hour football telecast, whether it's the weekly schedule of a network or the cable networks or all of television combined. There's this approach to life. And some would say, well, life dictated it. And I would suggest that it is exactly the opposite. From the creation of radio and television have dictated when people tune in. By advertising and saying so-and-so and such is happening at this time, be there, or be square, right? We're so far down that path. Now we have devices, smartphones and tablets and laptops and things that, well, our Bluetooth headphones and all of these devices that make sure we're connected to this media that is telling us what's going to happen when and who's going to be involved and why we should be there or be square. And they take advantage of these kinds of horrific acts, like what happened in Vegas, what happened in Florida, what happened, every single one of these, every time. That's what they mean when you hear "let no crisis go to waste." That is what we are seeing. Our social media, our televisions, our devices speak out to us, radios and televisions. Here's what's happening when and who's saying it. Don't miss it. Be there or be square. We're not arguing about the representatives we've elected going to Washington to uphold the Constitution and defend it. Nowadays, the argument is about what our representative is going to go and do for us. And even more so nowadays, it's about the representatives that we're going to elect that are going to go to Washington and fight an ideological battle against emotional little idiota who have no clue what it is they're even arguing about. All they have is an emotional spike. All they have is deep sadness or self-righteous indignation and an extreme level of being offended. That's all they've got. That's all they've got. This emotional reason, an explanation for why there should be more laws, for why people who've done nothing but practiced and implement their rights as an American should suddenly become criminals, just because these people are upset. Just because they're so upset when people are murdered. Well, of course I'm upset when people are murdered, but I don't immediately think of how to punish the country. I don't immediately think of how to remove liberty and freedom and self-direction and self-responsibility. I don't immediately seek how to alleviate the risk. I seek how to limit the risk, because I understand that there is no eliminating the risk. Liberals, they want us to believe that the only reason there's any kind of danger, any kind of negativity, any kind of bad happening or harm to anyone or bad feelings or emotional scars for anybody is because of patriarchy and white men and capitalism and the GOP. It's literally what their argument is. They want us to believe, liberals and Democrats and the mainstream media want us to believe if we just did it their way, then nothing bad would ever happen. Vegas wouldn't have happened. There would just be this world of compassion. If we just opened our arms and opened our borders, killed all the white men, according to some of them, right? I mean, isn't that what they say? Or if we just put the NRA in front of a firing squad, Miss Nancy Sinatra, that's what they say. They preach about how they can create this utopian, compassionate, empathic society, or empathetic society, but they need to accomplish it through criminalization, firing squads, jailing, confiscation. Jailing, yes, jailing. Well, you remember, you know that liberals think that people who don't believe in climate change should be put in jail, right? They should do time. It's absolutely ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely ridiculous. And one of the ways, and one of the things that I think so beautifully illustrates how ridiculous and hypocritic, how much hypocrisy there is in the left and the Dems and the mainstream media. Harvey Weinstein. Oh, the doll. Well over $500,000 in contributions to Clinton and the Democrats. He's a sexual predator, just like Bill Clinton. But he's a liberal. I don't know. He gave well, goodness gracious. We see it. It's nothing more than emotional, spoiled brats. Narcissistic little spoiled brats who think that their own reaction to the things that happen in the world around them is so much more powerful and in tune and righteous and blessed than everybody else's. And that if we all would just give them control and listen and be nice little submitting, slaves. Because what is true, it's not a hyperbolic statement. What is true is if we do not have the First and Second Amendment, especially if we do not have the Second Amendment, then we are slaves. We are then subject to coercion by another party for our property, our time, our work, our lives. More laws. That's what we need, right? More laws. Because everybody obeys the laws. Well, except NRA, conservative GOP, right? It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Whether or not bump stocks are a good idea or not makes absolutely no difference in the world because people don't obey the law. There are criminals. We have to find a way to stop producing criminals. More about that when we get back. Stay tuned. This is BS with AJ. It's the Talk America Radio Network.
Are you tired of paying high prices for TV channels you don't watch? Of course you are. You want to watch and pay for the channels you like. Now you can take back control of your TV with Dish's Flex Pack. Get over 50 of America's favorite channels for just $39.99 per month, and then add the channel packs that you want. And your TV price won't go up for 2 years, guaranteed. Plus, when you call today, you'll get free standard installation in up to 6 rooms and a free HD DVR upgrade. Need more channels? Dish offers loaded channel lineups from $54.99 per month, featuring over 190 channels, and HBO is included for a full year. And for a limited time, GoDish will give you a $100 prepaid Visa card when you sign up and mention offer code GIFT100. Call now, 800-795-5573, 800-795-5573, 800-795-5573.
Packages, prices, and promotions subject to change. Gift card courtesy of GoDish.com. Call for details.
Welcome back to BS with AJ, Talk America Radio Network. How do we stop producing criminals? Well, many of you have an answer for that, I bet. You've answered my question already. I'm going to give you my answer. We teach kids about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, freedom, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, the Declaration of Independence, why this country exists, why they were born into this amazing wealth, luxury, opportunity. As a matter of fact, the way we produce fewer criminals is to do everything, every single thing concerning the raising of our children, the opposite that liberals and Democrats and the mainstream media and science would have us do. Yes, and science. We would stop doing everything that the liberal, progressive movement in our education system, the mainstream media, the liberal, progressive movement in our country, everything we hear from liberals and Democrats in this country about kids and what they need, we need to do it the opposite of what they tell us. Because we've been listening to them for a long time, because they're so compassionate, and they care so deeply, and they're so in touch with all of the knowledge and of the future of the country, which are the children, and just how special and sacrosanct childhood is, even though they support abortion and it's cool, 59 million since Roe v. Wade. It's no problem. And they're upset because, after 20 weeks where the baby, it's still not a human being. They should be able to kill it. But they know the children are the future, and that it's really important to coddle them and to give them trophies and give them self-esteem and let them never suffer any qualm or twitch or never any kind of, not even a fever. You can't, a sniffle into the car, Junior, we're going to the doctor. No, we need to do everything the opposite of the way that we have been doing it. And it doesn't mean that we abuse everybody. It's not the opposite extreme. It's just that everything that a liberal says, a Democrat says, the mainstream media, science says about how to raise our children and teach them, we ignore it. We teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic, and the amazing story of the founding of this country, and why free markets, free enterprise, capitalism, freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, privacy, possessions, property, all of these things, federalism, states' rights, you name it. Teach them why it's important. Then you raise, most likely, save those crazy situations. Literally crazy. Save those wild situations. You raise citizens, neighbors, people who desire peace, who want to live in a stable community that provides them with opportunity for work and to earn and to grow and to improve their lives and set their children up for better lives and have that play out over the generations. Not worrying about how rhetorical and violent the political argument gets. That's the whole idea, is we're not supposed to fear that kind of revolutionary surge anymore in this country. The problems have been solved. We've been given freedom to be educated, to educate ourselves, and to pursue our happiness. And these liberal Democrat fools don't get it. They think that their path, that what they're pursuing, is to improve the lives of everyone around them, not their own. Because they're so compassionate. Do you see what I'm saying? They have to take care of the African American community because they're so oppressed and victimized, and so there's so much racism. Even though the African American community is present in every strata of our society, from top to bottom. You can't deny it. When we've elected a black president, and African Americans throughout business and politics throughout the land, you can't pretend as if there's some kind of institutionalized system of racism to keep it from happening. It exists. I've hammered away on it on this show. 320 million people in this country, and every day we have dozens and dozens of interactions with all kinds of people and things and places and both genders and all of it. Billions upon trillions of transactions and interactions with each other every day that are peaceful and neighborly. Yet the progressives in the mainstream media, the Democrats, would have us all believe that we're all on the verge of death because the opposing party sits near. Well, you might live by a Trump supporter. You should call the police on a regular basis just to talk to them about it. Or you should divorce your husband or wife because they're a Trump supporter. It's just this insanity that has found its way into our culture and our society, and that has rotted us from within. It is so. Oh, I'm having a hard time thinking of a word for it. Insidious. That's the word. That's the word that captures it. Insidious. We have people in this country, like Nancy Sinatra, who will say things like the NRA should be all of them should be put in front of a firing squad. Meanwhile, we have Planned Parenthood that's responsible for 59 million abortions since Roe v. Wade. And these people don't bat an eye because it's a woman's body. We have to debunk that. It's absolutely incredible. The stupidity, the foolishness, the general lack of awareness of anything other than that person's emotions and how offended they've become at what they heard someone say, what they saw in the news, what somebody else suggested, people who don't agree with them believe. And that's what we're shown. There's just so many people who are so disconnected. They are so deeply within the matrix, I guess is one way to put it. 59 million babies, ladies and gentlemen. That number has existed for a really long time. That's 73 to 2014. We're almost into 2018. So let's say 61 million. Conservatively. 61 million. That's just insane. It's absolutely insane. Liberals are worried about transgenders. Liberals are worried about identity politics. Liberals are worried about Russia. Russia. Marsha. Liberals are worried about Trump. It's just incredible, the foolishness and the stupidity of the left, the mainstream media, and the Democrat Party. And if you're a Democrat, I just can't imagine that you're not embarrassed when you see your representatives, whether they're from your state or at the federal level from all across the country. Embarrassment. What an embarrassment they are. What an embarrassment they have been. It's appalling to me that we find ourselves in this situation where we have these kinds of discussions these days, and we read these kinds of headlines from places like Slate and Politico and The Hill and The Washington Post and The New York Times. It's disgusting. Who do they think they are? It's just incredible, the self-adoration, the condescension, the narcissism. It's just absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. And it's times like these, when these kinds of events take place, and then the Twitter world and Facebook and social media in general and news and television and the NFL and all of these things have just erupted in this insane political bull crap fest. And the rest of us are just out here saying, can we just calm everything down? We just want to build a wall so that we can have a country. We just want to have laws so that we can have peace and security. We just want to have our freedoms so that we're not living in a tyrannical, despotic, socialistic situation. We just want free markets so that everybody has an equal opportunity to give themselves a hand up, not other taxpayers. We just want to be left alone to live and to be this American dream. And that's what we're out here begging for. Electing Republicans who tell us they'll help us get there over and over again. Electing Trump, believing that he could. And everybody else, the 63 million on Hillary's side, hating every day of it. Hating every day of their lives because they live in this country. Dreaming of a socialist utopia. Dreaming of a land without the GOP. Dreaming of a land without the NRA and its members. Dreaming of the day that they could cleanse this country of anybody who disagrees with them. And when these kinds of tragedies happen, horrific events, natural disasters, Harvey, Florida. You remember the Harvey stuff? Oh, Texas went for Trump. So you remember after Vegas? Well, country music fans are usually conservative. You see what I'm saying? Oh, no, abortion, it's a woman's body. 61 million dead since 73. These people do not want to live in a peaceful society next to you and me. They want their socialist utopia, and they want it now. And it appears they're willing to do just about anything to get it. I wonder if... it's incredible to think of the conspiracies and the possibilities of what could be, and the level of evil that exists in this world, and the amount of funding that evil gets from someone like George Soros. It's absolutely shocking. We'll be back after this. Stay tuned.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-296-1289. 800-296-1289. 800-296-1289. That's 800-296-1289.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. That's 800-378-2714.
The following message is brought to you by Health Markets, your first choice when you need health insurance for your small business. Do you offer health insurance to your employees? Call us now and see if you can save money. Do you want to offer vision and dental to your employees? Call us. Do you think you're paying too much for your current health insurance? Call us. Do you want somebody else to do all the legwork and search thousands of health plans from over 180 health insurance companies nationwide? Call us. We're Health Markets, and thanks to a little-known solution, we could help your business save thousands of dollars on health insurance costs and save your employees money too. Our service is free. Don't miss the great savings. Call now.
800-472-5145. 800-472-5145. 800-472-5145. That's 800-472-5145.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., licensed in all states. Product availability varies.
Welcome back to BS with AJ, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you being here. How do liberals sleep at night? This is a question I've asked myself today. Earlier, tonight, thinking about what to talk about for the show. How do liberals sleep at night? And I don't mean shame. I'm not talking about a conscience. I'm talking about if we're to accept them at face value, what they say and what they believe, they must live in constant fear. And not just fear, like a near state of panic. And that says a lot about their fortitude, their strength, their foundation, who they are. It says to me that all of that work with their self-esteem and building them up and supporting them and assuring them that they're the future leaders must not have worked, because none of them feel secure. All because they're so offended and their feelings are hurt so often by people that are just so mean and just don't care. It's incredible. I just wonder. I mean, we've all had this go through our heads, I think, at different point, and this discussion's been had before. It's how in the world can you exist the way a liberal exists? So angry, frustrated, and indignant, and bitter, hateful, just hateful, resentful, guilt-ridden, and so just down in the dumps, depressed. Everything's so awful. Meanwhile, there's just so much here. We just live in luxury. We just don't even have a clue anymore. It's incredible to me what liberals feel like they have a right to, like a right to health care. It's incredible to me. If you go hiking in the woods and you're attacked by an animal, you don't have a right to health care. You just hope and pray that there might be some close at hand and that you get it when you need it before you're dead. That's the difference between rights and entitlements. Rights are things that, when you strip away all of this material BS that we've established with this incredibly luxurious civilization, it still matters. It's still relevant. Like freedom of speech and the right to bear arms. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. 20,000 gun laws in this country. Those are infringements. Well, AJ, there's some smart laws there that keep guns out of some very dangerous people's hands. I understand, and I'm not suggesting anything other than the fact that for law-abiding American citizens, we're guaranteed the right to keep and bear arms, and that right shall not be infringed. So all of these folks who break the law and all of these other situations where there have been laws put on the books to address, a lot of times they don't clash, because when you're a law-abiding American citizen, you have this right. It just seems so obvious to me. But we don't have, for instance, we don't have the right to drive a car. If we get lost somewhere in the Sahara, or no, let's stay in America. Let's go into the Sierra Nevadas. If we're lost there, we don't have the right for a vehicle transport to appear out of nowhere to get us back home. We don't have the right to not hear other people's opinions. In other words, if we were just standing amongst each other naked in a void, we would still have to listen to all the other people speaking around us. We can't turn our ears off. We can put earplugs in and we can dose ourselves with drugs maybe to knock ourselves out. Here's the idea. I've covered it this way in the shows before, and I just got to hammer it home. Our inalienable rights, whether you believe in God or not, are given to us by our creation. It's phrased a lot of times by our Creator, but it's important, I think, to explain it this way. When you're born, here's the stuff you're guaranteed. You're going to be able to assemble, you're going to be able to speak your mind, you're going to be able to defend yourself, you're going to be able to own a weapon that would guarantee your ability to defend yourself if the occasion rises, and so on and so forth right down the line. If you're born here in America, through your creation, you're guaranteed these things, and these things are to be protected by the government. You are to be protected from the government, by our documents. That's the point here. But too many folks have been taught over the years that, no, we can change law. We can affect change in our world by lobbying, and we can protest, and we can elect people who will change the reality for us. We can have a new mom and dad that we can go and tattletale on brother and sis about. Mom and dad, so-and-so shot so-and-so, you need to take the gun away. That's what it is. Mom and dad, so-and-so is really mean to such and such that says they're no longer a girl and that they're a boy now, and so you need to go and force everybody to call them a girl. That's what this is. Mom and dad, so-and-so was mean to that person because of the color of their skin, so you need to make laws that tell them they're not allowed to do that. Okay. Meanwhile, it doesn't stop it from happening. People are mean, people do bad stuff, people make bad decisions, things go wrong. There's nothing guaranteed to us. Failure is always an option. And all of these realities are brushed away by liberals. And it all becomes about their reaction to what took place and how emotionally stirred, how deeply moved, how deeply connected they are with their compassion and their empathy. They're smarter than the rest of us, folks. They get it. And if we could just get rid of all the people who don't get it and keep all the people who do get it and build this beautiful social utopia, then we would just never ever suffer any kind of slight or injustice again. And you just have to just elect Democrats, and they'll take care of everything for you. It'll be cool. You won't have to worry about a thing. You're going to get everything you want. I mean, because it's going to be your right. You're going to be entitled to it. Somebody else is going to make sure you have it. If you just vote for Democrats and if you just adopt the liberal way, no longer will your heart ache. There will no longer be the breaking of hearts. That will be impossible because the enlightened, compassionate, empathetic amongst us know a better way. And they're just waiting for the idiot GOP conservative NRA type to get out of the way or die or be killed or be put in jail. It's what they tell us every day. It's time to start listening. We hear Iran stand and talk about the destruction of Israel, the destruction of the great Satan. We hear North Korea. Should we not take it seriously? Should we not take it seriously when it's our own neighbors? Should we not take it seriously when it's members of our own community who are making the comments like Nancy Sinatra did about members of the NRA being put in front of a firing squad? Are we not supposed to call them out? We're not supposed to take them seriously. We're supposed to laugh at that, I suppose. I see. When 63 million people vote for Hillary Clinton, we're not supposed to take that seriously. Well, AJ, we don't want to divide the country. We don't want to incite violence. I don't want to incite violence. I want to incite thought. I want to incite results. I want to incite difference. I want to incite evolution of society, of community, of culture. Not through government law, not through the badges and the gavels and the guns, but through telling it like it is and calling people out for what it is they're showing the world. As long as there's a political party, along with the media and 63 million Americans who will so loudly scream about needing to preserve a law that has resulted in the death of 61 million babies in this country since 1973, don't talk to me about my rhetoric. My rhetoric is not a problem. Conservative rhetoric is not a problem. When the liberal Democrat Party stands up so vehemently for the destruction of the baby in the womb, do not talk to me about my rhetoric concerning the Second Amendment and the need for our ability to defend ourselves and how it should not be infringed and how without the Second Amendment we are nothing more than slaves. Conservative rhetoric, not a problem, because it all guarantees an individual's right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The liberal Democrat rhetoric calls for the destruction of their political opponent. Let that sink in, if I can steal the phrase from the internet. Everything nowadays, let that sink in. Let that sink in. Well, seriously, not much is sinking in these days. It can't penetrate the emotional upheaval and the chaos of feelings to get through the thick-skulled millennial idiot. There aren't enough. There aren't enough people standing up and saying no more. to people like Nancy Sinatra, and people like the CBS lawyer, and people like the deli owner, and people like the guy with the Harvey quote about Texas being GOP. They're not being stood up to enough. They're not suffering enough. I wouldn't suggest throwing them in jail. I'm not suggesting taking any of their rights away, but they need to be shamed, and they need to be shamed strongly. The GOP, the conservatives, the people who put Trump in office, the people who value our Constitution and Bill of Rights have no need to feel any shame and have no need to apologize for anything. We have no goals of domination. Our goal is to preserve, to conserve what was given to us by our forefathers in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, our guiding principles. The Democrats, the liberals, the mainstream media want to destroy all of that, and they're very open about it. And it's time we call them out on it. We'll be right back.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, whew, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-264-1289. 800-264-1289. 800-264-1289. Again, that's 800-264-1289.
Are you tired of paying high prices for TV channels you don't watch? Of course you are. You want to watch and pay for the channels you like. Now you can take back control of your TV with Dish's Flex Pack. Get over 50 of America's favorite channels for just $39.99 per month, and then add the channel packs that you want. And your TV price won't go up for 2 years, guaranteed. Plus, when you call today, you'll get free standard installation in up to 6 rooms and a free HD DVR upgrade. Need more channels? Dish offers loaded channel lineups from $54.99 per month, featuring over 190 channels, and HBO is included for a full year. And for a limited time, GoDish will give you a $100 prepaid Visa card when you sign up and mention offer code GIFT100. Call now, 800-795-5573, 800-795-5573, 800-795-5573.
Packages, prices, and promotions subject to change. Gift card courtesy of GoDish.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. 800-378-2714. That's 800-378-2714.
Welcome back to BS with AJ, ladies and gentlemen. I asked last segment, how do liberals sleep at night? The way they talk. It sounds as if we're already living through Armageddon if you listen to a liberal talk. If you look at their tweets, their Facebook posts, their reaction to Trump's speeches, if you watch any of the mainstream media, we're already in Armageddon. The world is ending because Trump. The world is ending because NRA. They're deep. It's this deep emotional existence. We see it in Jimmy Kimmel. What a jerk. What a thin. I have mud puddles in my driveway deeper than this guy. Who cares how funny he might have been at some point or could be? But he represents to me this deep emotional existence that they all exist in. It's nothing more than an emotional roller coaster from moment to moment. And whatever they're feeling in the moment is the most incredible thing that's ever been felt. And the rest of us should just hush in awe at Kimmel's ability to connect with the depth of the issue and just feel it in his feely parts. What a jerk. What a shallow, ignorant human being. And it's really unfortunate. But all the liberals live that way. They're just, as I said last segment, they're just in such deep depression and guilt and anger and bitterness and frustration. They want us gone. They want all of their political opposition to just be destroyed. How can you imagine? They're just living in this edge of panic. How in the world? They're so offended. They believe that their level, people have never been offended as they've been offended. They're so much smarter that their offense carries megatons compared to anyone else's. They're so heartbroken at injustice. None of us see it. We'll walk right by a homeless person. We don't get it the way that they do. What a load of crap. The most charitable country in the history of the planet. But the thing is they live in this reality, and what it does is it causes them. They're ready to say screw it. Forget freedom. Who needs freedom? Freedom means people do bad stuff and they're racist and patriarchal and misogynistic and they're cisgendered. Oh my gosh. Troglodytes, just Neanderthals. And so they're willing to just toss it all out. All of this wealth, all of this luxury, all of this comfort, standard of living, all of this medicine, all of this technology, they want it gone. They don't recognize that. I don't believe most of them understand what would be different if we didn't have this country and we hadn't done and achieved all of these things. I don't think anybody on the left in the Democrat Party has a freaking clue how comfortable they are, how amazing our existence is. They probably think they have a right to air conditioning. I've suggested on this show before, we're still, even at our level of civilization in 2017, we still live at the mercy of nature. We just learned this with Harvey and Irma. We're learning it again. Isn't there another one like Nate or something? But look at Puerto Rico. What an incredible thing. And the forest fires, the earthquake in Mexico. There's so much. We have been shown time and time and time again, tsunamis, all of it. We are at the mercy of this planet and its ecosystem and its climates. We don't have any control over anything. We can't affect any change in any of it, no matter what we do. Well, AJ, we could explode 450 nuclear weapons all at once. I bet that would... Sure, but who... It just makes me shake my head. It's unfathomable how people will talk themselves and rationalize things that are so absolutely irrational. I would suggest that if we plunge the world into a nuclear holocaust, we could come back in 1,000 years and we'd find life on this planet. So, this idea that we're going to destroy the planet, we would destroy humanity is what we would do. This planet would shrug it off and laugh at us. And it still does. And that's what people don't get. And humanity is some of what does that kind of, and what causes some of that kind of catastrophic events as well. With war, invasion, conquest, empire building. There is such a lack of a general knowledge of human history in so much of our population, in so many of our Democrats in this country. And it's so unfortunate. Because we're not asking for everyone to think the same way. We're just asking for everyone to allow everyone else to live their freaking lives and do what they do. And understand that that comes with risk. Understand that there are people that are going to abuse their freedoms. And that we have to be prepared for that at all times. And therefore do a more focused and vigilant job of raising and teaching our children and preparing them for the reality they're going to face, instead of coddling them and protecting them and shielding them and leaving them shocked and unprepared when the veils fall from their eyes, the scales fall from their eyes. We failed 63 million people in this country, at least, all of the Hillary voters. We failed them in our education system. We failed them as neighbors. We failed them as friends. We failed them. And again, I mean, it's not fair. We can't force other people to do anything. But we have to believe that when people are given enough information, that they'll arrive at the same kind of conclusions that we have. Where, again, we're not trying to force an ideology on anybody. We're trying to conserve one that has given birth to the most amazing country in the history of the planet. They're the ones working to try to harness our badges and gavels and guns to dominate us and fundamentally transform this nation into socialism. They're open about it. It's not a conspiracy. It's not rhetoric. It's not hyperbole. It's the real deal. We see it. We hear it. Whether it's a Trump speech or it's a mass shooting. They're ready. They're ready to take control and put all of us in our place, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not ready to be put in my place. I'm ready to stay in America and be my own person and determine my own path and do my best to correct mistakes and learn from them and improve upon them and avoid them in the future. Gain wisdom and perspective and learn. And mourn and be sad and affected and become more and more aware of the world that I live in when the negative, horrible, catastrophic things take place. Not to say, screw it. Forget it all. I give up. Just let the government do it. They're probably smarter than me. I'm just tired of crying all the time. That's what a liberal says. I just don't want to cry anymore. I'm just so sad about stuff, so just let the government do it. And as long as there's no Republicans, just put Democrats and socialists in office and it'll be fine. We won't have to talk about guns anymore. You'll never even have to see one again. Well, unless you break any law at all, ever. Unless you speak out against government. It's just, we don't even have to go into that hypothetical argument or situation where if we gave them their way and they had power. We've seen it. It's called the USSR. It's called Venezuela. It's called Cuba, North Korea, China. These aren't beautiful gardens of Eden. These aren't places where people want to live. That's why they come here. And yet all of these people spend all of this time trying to destroy what is here and turn it into what is there. All because of feelings. And because it hurts when someone dies. Of course it does. It hurts when someone's murdered. It hurts when they die of natural causes. It hurts when they die in their sleep. It hurts. It's not supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to never happen. None of us get out of this alive. And in a society where we have pitted ourselves against one another so starkly, we're going to see what we saw. We had Timothy McVeigh back in the 90s. This isn't new. None of it is new. There's nothing new. When's the last time Hollywood had an original thought? Well, not recently, and that's because people like Harvey Weinstein run it. There's nothing new under the sun. There really isn't. The only thing new that exists are the individuals that are born. Me and you, when we're born, and our children, and the children we see born. That's the only thing new and unique, ever. Everything has been done. Everything has existed. We are each of us the billionth some odd person to tread this path. We are walking on the path of billions. We want to blaze new trails. They're only new for us 99% of the time. I digress. This country's amazing. It's worth defending. It truly is. The Bill of Rights is the most valuable thing. The Constitution, the most valuable thing. This ability to determine our own lives and seek our own paths and live this American dream, that's what's important. It doesn't mean there's no danger. It doesn't mean we might not get offended. It doesn't mean someone might not hurt our feelings. It doesn't mean we're not going to suffer. It doesn't mean tulips and roses and daisies and sunny prairies and amazing breezes. It doesn't. It's dangerous and it's hard and it hurts and it takes from us. That's what it means to be free. If you were to go out and wander free into the wilderness, you would face all of the same things. It's just true. That's why our inalienable rights are inalienable. Because in the basic existence of nature, we are what we are. And that Bill of Rights explains it and describes it for us perfectly. And it arms us perfectly to face it and be our own people. A book to shove in your skull. It's connected here. Weird, I know. But this is one of those books that causes you to have all of this kind of, not self-reflective, maybe a little self-reflective. That's natural. But to reflect on human nature. To think about our traits, the things that end up occurring in our relationships with one another. This book is called King Rat. It's by James Clavell. It's from his Asian saga. I've talked about that saga before with Shogun, Noble House. It's a quick read. It's like 352 pages. Another quick one. You can do it at the beach on a long flight. But this takes place in a POW camp in World War II in Singapore. And there's about 10,000 POWs, and it's Australians, some Scotsmen, some Irish, some Americans, and British. Canadians as well. And the prisoners are there. Some of them have been there as long as from 1942, or they have been prisoners since 1942 on. And this book takes place from late spring 45, maybe, yeah, it's got to be spring 45 through August. Most of you will know what happened in August of 45. But this is absolutely fascinating. I enjoyed this book, and I finished it relatively quickly, and I was up till almost 4 a.m. one morning finishing. I couldn't put it down. Just phenomenal. I don't want to give too much away. It's basically about an American soldier. I think he's a corporal, if I remember correctly. And he does a little business with some of the guards and some of the other POWs, and it's really about what takes place in and around that corporal's experience and some of his business dealings. Sounds kind of right? No. In a POW camp where these men have been starved, they suffer from dysentery and cholera and the flux, as it would be called back in the day, who scramble for food, it's just the stark, harsh reality that these POWs existed in POW camps in the Asian area is laid out for you here. It's educational, it causes self-reflection, it causes reflection on human nature, and it's a window into an experience that these POWs had in World War II that you just can't get, I think, any other way. James Clavell, King Rat, you gotta check it out. That's this week's book to shove in your skull. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you love this country as much as I do. I believe you do. I believe that's why you're listening to the Talk America Radio Network. Tell somebody else about it. Tell somebody about the show. And I'll see you next week. And until then, be safe. And bye, Earth.